Hi everybody. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk about multi-views and how they work. The name for multi-views, of course, is orthographic projection. That means to throw forward at 90 degrees and draw, if you put it in Latin. And what we do, if you look back at the PowerPoint presentation, that glass box and something sitting inside of it, you set it down inside a glass box, an object. So let's say maybe this object. You see it's on the screen as well. And then we just trace what we see onto that glass box. So we throw forward at 90 degrees and draw. So we're tracing is what we're doing. Okay. So as you can see, I've got all three of these shapes that you see on your screen. There's two of them. And there's the third. Okay. So there's the actual shapes. This program that I've got open now, all three of these, by the way, are 5 inches long, 2.5 inches tall. And then we've got different cuts. So this one's got just a square cut out of it, making an L shape. This one's got an inclined cut, just a single inclined cut. And this one's got a double inclined cut. If I take this object and rotate it around so you can see it, whoa, how about that? Okay, let's do it in this mode right here. Okay. Been a while since I've used my Inventor, so getting a hold of everything. So as you can see, we've got some different shapes. Okay, and all of them are colored the same way, by the way. So the red is the front, the blue is the top, the green is the right, the brown is the back. Okay. We should have yellow on the left end, and we've got gray underneath. Okay, I'm going to put it back in its home position so we can see it. So there we go. Let me get out of the orbit command. Okay. Uh-oh, hit the wrong button. You don't ever want to do that if you can help it. There we go. All right, so that's our shape right there that we're looking for, okay? Now, so what does that mean when we go to draw? Well, we need to lay out a drawing of what we've got. So again, if you notice here, this shape here, if we flip it around, looks identical on the back. It's just got the cutout facing the other way. So how do we know what's the top and what's the front and what's the back if they look identical? If you look, we've got two surfaces here. The bottom is just flat. And here we've got two surfaces. This side is just flat. So what we'll do in a case like that is we need to determine, all right, which way do we want to turn it? Because by saying that this and this and this and this need to be the top and the right side. Now again, do we turn it with the green facing up or the blue facing up? So see, we get into different things. So we always figure out what tells our best shape, then we figure out what would look best, turn to the right or turn to the top. And that's going to help us determine which way we flip this back and forth, okay? So that sort of gives you an idea about that. So let's open up AutoCAD. I've got my template open. I've already drawn a box, and if we measure it, 5 inches long and 2.5 inches tall. Remember, always start with a box the size of the object. Okay? So there, I've got that started. Now, I could go ahead and draw my other boxes as well. For this object, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you all 6 views. But of course, on this, we wouldn't draw all 6. How many views do you draw? As many as it takes to fully describe the object. Okay? That's important. Every feature should appear visible at least once. Why do I say at least once? Well, the reason why, if you've got an inclined surface, and I had a hole drilled in this or in one of these two, I could see that hole looking at it from the top. I could also see it looking at it this way. So that's why at least once. All right? So let's go back now. So there's my box for that. My side view, where am I going to start it at? Well, this is just semantics as far, where do you want to start at? If I'm just drawing views, I'll usually put 1 inch between my views to give us some room. If I'm dimensioning it, adding numbers, I'll go 2 inches, and I might even have to go more. So I'm going to say line, and of course this is identical in the web app. You'll go to the line command. I'll hover here. I won't click. I'll start dragging across using my polar tracking. I'll start my first point 1 inch away. Okay? So there's it. Now, the depth of this piece that I showed you a minute ago is 1.5 inches. So I'm going to type in 1.5. Now, my height is going to be identical to this. So I can hover off that and drag over. Now, of course, I can use my object snap and my polar tracking and make me a rectangle here. Okay? So I am going to move this box up just a little bit so you can see what's going on down on my command line. Now look, the bottoms line up, the tops line up in my side view. So my right side, my front, my left side, and my back will all be in line going across the top. Any features that have height will line up, okay? So how about my top view? Well, same thing. I'm going to go to line. Now notice it says specify first point. Hover, drag up. Make sure you get your little green dotted line and start that 1 inch up, okay? It's going to be the same width because the top has width as well as the front and the bottom and the back. Okay, so there. Now this time we're going to have depth because I'm going to go back to our picture. If you notice, this is left to right. This is width. This is top to bottom. That's height. This is front to back. That's depth. Well, look, I can see that looking at it from the right. I can also see that looking at it from the top. So they share that, okay? So let's go back to our drawing again. So it's going to be 1.5 inches deep, okay? Then we're going to have that same depth there. There we go, okay? Right click, there we go. So there's our 3 boxes for our 3 primary views. So when we do that, everything lines up, okay? Now, you know, it's obvious we can get height from here to here. It's obvious we can get depth from here to here. I'm sorry, width from here to here, sorry. How do we get depth from here to here? Well, it's pretty easy, believe it or not. The best thing to do, one, always try to put the same amount of space between your views. That's really important. But if you don't, the best thing to do is draw you a line from this corner over, okay? And then hover and draw your line from this corner down. So right there, all right? Now I'm going to turn these 2 lines red just so you can see them. Remember, I've told you don't ever mess with your properties, with your layers like this or your colors, okay? Unless you're going to undo it later. Let's keep them white for now, all right? So now I'm going to draw me a line from here, 45 degrees. If you've got it done just exactly right, it should line up with that corner of the front view, okay? If we have a box. Now, if we've already cut some stuff away, it's where that corner would have been. Again, I'm going to turn this red just so you can see it. I'm going to delete these here in a minute, okay? So notice, width here, okay, left to right, left to right. Notice, this is our height. Again, this is our height. These line up, okay? Width lines up here, lines up here. So how about depth? Well, notice, this is the back edge of the object. Okay, if we turn it around to the right. If we go to here, this is the back edge of the object if we're looking at it from the top. So notice that lines up. So if that's the case, here's my front edge. Push it up to here. Now push it across and look, it lines up. So anything that's a depth in this view or this view will transfer around that 45-degree line. Comes in handy on some really detailed stuff. Simple a drawing as this is, we're not going to worry about it. But I just want to show you that. This is called a miter line, M-I-T-E-R, miter line. It's 45 degrees. Okay, allows us to transfer depth. The way I like to tell people, think about parking a car. So here's my car, and I'm going to go and park it here, make a car, vroom, 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 pull around here and park. So here we're looking at the vehicle from behind, from the front. Here we're looking at it from the top. So see, it's the same. So the passenger door would be here for the driver. It would be here for the driver. Okay, for the passenger, it would be here, and it would be here. Just one way of looking at it, okay? So, let's take that notch and put it. You want to go back and see it? See the notch right here, from here to here? Well, how big is that? Well, that notch is 2 inches from the front to here, and it is 1.25 inches from here to here, up and down. Okay, so let's go do that. So I need a line, and I said from here back, and work from the corner that you're cutting from. So from here back, it goes back 2 inches. There's my first point. Now we can draw a great big long line. We could have offset this line to have got here. But I just need a line, okay? I can draw it exactly the right length, or I can come back later and trim. This is all up to you. I know it's 1.25 inches down, so I can type in 1.25, or of course 1-1/4, either one. So right there, I come back over and intersect this line, which it happens to intersect it at the midpoint. And that is correct. Okay? So there's that cutout. Now all I need to do is either trim or use my grips and clean this up. Okay? So there's that L shape. Well, how do I get it in this view? This is the great part about it. This height transfers directly to here. Line, hover over my endpoint, drag across, and now click, come across, and click again. There it is. So we've got a square sitting on top of a square. Let's go back and look at our object. A square sitting on top of a square if we're looking at it that way. That's perfect. So now we should have a rectangle beside of another rectangle. So let's go do that. So where's that at? Well, again, this transfers to here because look, see that width and see that width? We're going to see them here. So if I hover here and drag straight up, now here's the key. We want the X, not the midpoint. So we want the X to the X because that lines that and that up. Now I have had students over the years, and this is fine if you want to do this. They'll actually physically click here and drag up to here. Okay, same thing here. They'll click right here and drag over to here, and then they'll come back and trim it out and clean it up. So once we get all this done, you know, this would go away. Then we would have to clean this up. And there is our front view, our top view, and our right side. Okay? So how about our bottom and our left side? Well, we would have the exact same box down here, be the exact same width. Okay? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use the mirror command to get this box exactly down here. So I'm going to say mirror. I want to mirror all of that. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to use the midpoint of that line, drag straight out, click, and no, I don't want to erase my source object. So there's my bottom. Remember, the bottom of this thing here, I'm going to hold it up so you can see it on my camera. The bottom of this thing is solid. But these two edges, these two blue surfaces, is divided by this edge. That's still there. So if somebody was just looking at the bottom, we would want them to know that's still there. So what do? Well, we have to give them a reference, and that's a hidden edge. So we've got hidden edges, hidden features. So how do we represent a hidden edge? Well, a hidden line is a series of 1/8 of an inch dashes. That's it. So I've got a layer set up for you called hidden. Same thing in the AutoCAD web app. I've got a layer set up for you. Okay, so you can just click on it and be right in there, or we can change the properties later. You know, a lot of people will just click here, they'll do line, and again, sorry about that. They'll hover, they'll drag straight down, and they'll get an X, and they'll drag down to here. There we go. But look, that's a solid line. We don't have a visible edge here. The only time we see a solid line is if it's a visible edge. So what I would do, I'm going to open up my properties. Okay. And I'm going to drag this over to the other side so we can see it. All right, I'm going to drop it right there so we can see it. Okay, so what I would do is I would click on this line, get my properties box to open up, and now look, layer, object, drop down, change it to hidden. And then hit escape or confirm if you're using the web app, and there we go. If you're using regular AutoCAD, we could have done the exact same thing. Let me undo. I can click on it and come here and say hidden. It does the exact same thing. If you notice over in the properties dialog box, it shows it changed. Okay? So that's all you've got to do. So there is my bottom view. What you see, solid bottom view, but there is a line dead in line with this edge saying, hey, there's something that you can't see, and you turn it over, you go, oh, there's two separate surfaces at different heights. So that's what that hidden line tells us. Go look somewhere else and see what's going on, okay? So how about the left view? Again, I'm going to cheat. I'm not going to draw the box. I'm just going to copy it, okay? Mirror. I'm going to click in the midpoint of this line and drag up. This is the only one that'll work because it's the only one that is the full width. Drag straight up, click. No, I don't want to erase my source objects. There's my left-hand view, representing height and width. I'm sorry, height and depth, because this is depth. Now I need the very same thing. I need a line, hover here, drag across, click, and we would change that either here or here, just according to what you're using. Of course, in the web app, you'll use the properties. You'll click on the little tab that's over on the left, it says properties, and you'll go to layer and change it to hidden. And there's that one. Okay. How about the back? Well, now the back, when we draw it, and this is one I can completely cheat on, watch this, because it's the entire shape. On this one, I'm going to flip it and say no. So there's the back. Okay. So there's our 6 principal views. Well, how many do we need to draw? As many as it takes to fully describe it. In most cases, we can fully describe an object with 2 to 3 views. There's an argument to be made that 2 views would be enough of this. Either the front and the right side would be good, or the front and the top. Some people would say, hey, I want to see all 3 views. That's okay. You just don't want to give way too much information. Keep it as simple as possible. Draw only what you need to draw to fully describe it. Okay? But again, 2 to 3 views. The most common number of views is 3. So there's what we've got laid out. If you notice, top, front, bottom, right, front, left, back. It looks like a laid over cross. Okay? And again, notice this. I'm going to draw a line. I am going to change my color here. Well, no, I'm just going to do it this way. So I'm going to come all the way over here and hover, and I'm going to start right. Come on, hover and drag. There it is. Click right there. Notice everything lines up. Everything lines up. That's all height. Notice here. Everything lines up. Everything lines up. Notice here. Everything lines up. Notice here. Everything lines up. Okay? If it's a width in any of these 3, it's a width in the other 2. If it's a height in any of these 4, it's a height in the other 3. Okay? So we always need to be sure we do that. Okay? So like I said, there's our 6 primary views of that object. Again, we would probably only draw 2 or 3. All right, now I'm going to quickly draw the other 2 shapes, but I'm not going to do all 6 views. Okay? Because these are simple shapes. So again, I'm going to start with a box. I am going to keep these in line just because I like it that way. We said it was 5 inches wide. We said it was 2.5 inches tall. Click, drag up, drag back down. Our box over here, these are all the same shape because I cut them all out of the same piece of wood. I'm going to hover. I'm going to drag across and start 1 inch away. 1.5 inches deep. So we've got height, width, and depth now. And then come back, draw me a rectangle here. And then the same thing here. I'm going to hover, drag up 1 inch. Pick up here, get to 5, 1.5. Click, and come back down. So there's our 3 primary views. And for the time being, let's think about 3s, okay? The first drawing we're going to physically do that I'm going to walk you through, we're only going to do 2 views. But I'll show you all 3 on this one. So this one, let's look at this one. See? We've got an inclined edge. A lot of people call it a slope, but it's an inclined surface. It's up off the edge to the right. It is in from the top, from the left, okay? So how far? Well, in from the left, along the top, it's 1 inch, okay? So if I come in from the left, it's 1 inch in. From the right-hand side up, it's a 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate one of those 2 points. So I'm just going to say line. Again, I could use offset. That would work. It would work fine. This is the way we used to do it, actually. Let me show you this. We would go into offset, specify distance. Those that use the web app, remember you have to hit exit, repeat last command. That's when you'll get it specify distance. So say a 1/2 inch, click and go up. Because that gives me that point that it hits on. So notice in the video, that's that point right there. Okay, that top corner. All right? That's the way we used to do it. Now, what we can do is I do this a lot. I'll hover and I'll drag up and I'll say 0.5 and I'll just draw me a little line there. Now, the end of that line is a 1/2 inch up. The reason why I do that, I need to know where I'm going to end at. So I'm going to say line. I'm going to hover. Now, remember, it was 1 inch in from this edge. So hover, drag in, get your little green dashed line until at 1 inch is our starting point. Now, where am I going to? I'm going to right there. That's it. Okay, now I can get rid of this. Nothing to it. Okay? So now, again, I can either use my blue grips and drag it back, or I can go to trim and get rid of what I don't want. So there's my front view. My top view, remember, this is a width, so I'm going to hover here, drag up, click, There's that platform right there. I'm going to go back into line. I'm going to hover here, drag over, click, drag over, click. There's that rectangle. So, look. See? The green rectangle? That's that. Look here. The blue rectangle? That's that. And they line up. Okay? The white edge, we can only see its true length where we see it as an edge in the front view. This is shorter because, look, it's going across horizontal. It's not going along the entire length. Same thing here. This is only showing width. The outer edge to the outer edge. This is only showing the height of that angle cut there. And it's going from top to bottom where it's the height. So these are, the fancy term is called foreshortened. These two surfaces are foreshortened. They're not the actual length. There's the only place we see the actual length. Okay? So there's that one. All right, let's go over and do one more. Whoops, wrong one. Let's do this one. Two slopes. This one starts on the very bottom. This one does come in from the edge, and then we track back here to get this one. Okay? So again, let's do our little box. Same thing. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to start. We know it's a 5-inch box. It's 2.5 inches tall. Gets kind of repetitive, doesn't it? Depth is the same. Go over 1 inch, then 1.5, then track, hover, track, click, all that good stuff. Same thing in our top view. Up 1, click, 1.5, hover, click, click. There we go. There's our 3 primary views. All right, let's go back and look at it again. So, from here back to here, we need a horizontal measurement. Okay? That distance, horizontal, is 1 1/8. Okay? 1 1/8. This measurement along the top is 1 inch. And then from here over horizontally down to this point, so it's horizontal, okay, is another 3/4 of an inch. All right. So look what I'm going to see. If I look at it from the top, rectangle. Look, the white makes a rectangle. Then another rectangle, the blue. Then this white makes a rectangle. Okay? So we're going to see 4 rectangles in the top. Along this, all we're going to see is 2 rectangles, but they're both slopes. There again, we can't tell that looking directly into it. That's why we draw multiple views. Okay? So let's do that again real quick. So we know that from here up, by the way, this platform, the height of this platform is 1 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a line at 1 1/4. I know that's halfway, so I'm going to cheat. I'm going to put me a line all the way across. Okay? I know that's where that's at. So now then, remember, it starts at the corner and it goes up here, and I said it comes up here to a point 1 1/8 horizontal. So I'm going to do this so we see it. I'm going to start here. I'm going to drag across, and I'm going to say 1-1/8. Okay? That's the way you put in whole numbers and fractions, remember? The other way we can do it is 1.125. You need to use the full decimal equivalent, not 1.12. Hit enter. There's my first point, and click right there. Okay? There it is. So that incline goes from there to there. There it is. Okay? Now, this incline comes in and then goes down. Remember, I told you it's 1 inch in, and then it's 3/4 more over. So I'm gonna do this from the top corner because that's where it's coming from, top left corner. Drag in, say 1 inch. Drag down. Then I can either offset or I can hover here, drag over 0.75 or 3/4, and drag down. Okay? And I'll put a line from here to here. Now, let's get rid of all these verticals that we drew. Okay? There they are. Now we can use trim again, or we can use our grips. There we go. There's that shape. So now let's project from one view to the other. Hover, because this is a surface. Drag across, click, click. This is this inclined surface. This is this inclined surface. Okay? How about up and down? Well, we've got an edge here. Drag up, click, click. We've got an edge here that we can see looking from the top. Drag up, click, click. We've got an edge here we can see from the top. Click, click, and then there. There's an inclined surface right there. There's an inclined surface right there. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles. That's what that would look like from the top. Okay? The projection part's easy because anywhere you've got a corner, you know you're going to project. That makes it real simple. Okay? Well, now, I quickly do want to show you what we do if we have a hole somewhere. So, let's put a hole in this surface right here. Okay? Right there. And I'm going to put it dead center. I'm going to make it easy. So, I'm going to say line. I'm going to click from here to here. Oops. Drag it back to the start. There we go. Because that gets me a line. And I'm going to say it's dead center of that surface. So now I know it's also the middle of that line. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to say center diameter. I'm going to click. I'm going to drag out. And I'm going to put a hole in this thing. And it's going to be 0.75 or 3/4 in diameter. So there's my hole. That's in the top view. Okay. This will need to turn into a center line. Okay. So if you'll highlight it, change its layer to center. And again, I could have done that right here. So don't forget, on center lines, how far out past the circular feature? 1/4 of an inch. Same thing here. Remember, if you're using the web app, the easiest thing to do is offset a circle out. So if I go to offset, you'll have to go to exit, come back in. So you'll get specified distance, say 0.25, and click on the circle and come out. And then you can extend or stretch or trim and get that line where you want it. Okay? So that will work. There we go. There's that. Then, of course, I can use the mirror command because of my 45-degree setup. Go 45 degrees. Say, no, we don't want to get rid of it. So there's my hole. I can see it there. So how about my front view of my right side? What would I do for that? Well, we can't see it looking at it from the front if that hole is drilled on this platform. So it's drilled this way. So here it would start here and it would go this way. So what we do, and this time I'm going to go ahead and change my layer before I draw it. Remember, you can draw the object line and change its layer, but I'm going to just change over so we can see it. Come to the quadrant of the circle, drag straight down. I'm in the line command now. Click, click. That's the edge of that hole. Same thing, or I could use my mirror and use that center line to mirror it around. Hover, oops, hover, drag down, click, click. There we go. Okay. How about my center line? Now, I do cheat on my center line, so I don't have to draw another one. I just modify one. So I'll go to copy. I'll copy that. I know it's 1/4 of an inch above that circle, so I'm going to click right there. And we'll come down until I get my X. This time it happens to be the midpoint. And I'm going to click right there. Now, it's already 1/4 of an inch longer there. So how do I get it 1/4 of an inch longer here? Again, I could use my grip, drag down again. Or I could use the offset tool. Make sure you're to the point that you can specify the distance, no matter which program you're using. 1/4 of an inch. And now I can drag it down or extend it to there. So either way works. Because it has to be 1/4 of an inch outside the circular feature. This is a circular feature, even though it doesn't look like it. Okay? So there it is. Real simple. How about getting it in this view? Because we need to see it over here too. Well, once you get really, really, really good, you're going to learn some little tricks that you can use. But I want to show you that miter line one more time. Okay. Now look, I'm still in the hidden line layer. This is kind of funny. Okay, but I'm going to leave it for just a minute. Okay, so there it is. It doesn't matter what layer this is in. The big thing is just make sure you delete it when you get done. Okay? So now, how do I get it from here to here? Remember the parking the car thing? Well, watch. If I go line, and I'm going to draw it this time complete instead of hovering and starting. So I'm going to go to line. I'm going to click on that quadrant, click there, and look. Now take it to where it ends, right there. Same thing here. Click, click, click. Now, you don't want to do a bunch of features at a time, because you've got a bunch of them doing this, it's going to be a mess. So you may want to only do one feature or maybe a couple of features at a time. So once I get that done, I need a center line as well. So I can do the very same thing with my center line and put it in place. And of course I would have to shorten it and all that good stuff. It's not as hard this time though, because I can use these endpoints to work off of. So look, let's go ahead and drag this grip and look where I drag it to. Remember, that's the same height. That hole is drilled in this platform. There we go. How about my center line? Well, like I told you, now I'm in the hidden layer. I can hover here, drag over, drag down, but instead of stopping here, look, hover here, drag back across, click. Cool. Let's go ahead and change that to center. There we go. Now where does this one go to? Click, drag down, come here and hover. Drag back, oh, make sure you get it. Don't want to grab it. Did it get it? No, it didn't get it. So what do I do then if it won't grab where I want it to? Well, you can, if push comes to shove, the absolute worst thing is just draw your line across there and then drag it down to there. Now, get rid of what you don't want. You can do that, okay? And then, like I said, make sure you get rid of all that. So there it is. So that miter line allows us to transfer depth around and location around, okay? Because that center line is showing location. I will show you how to cheat on that because everybody loves to. This is where you've got to think logically. You know, we said that this was centered on this platform. So there to there, it's dead in the middle. Remember, there to there is also there to there. And we know it's the same height, here to here and here to here. Well, watch what I can do. I can go to copy after I get it drawn. Grab all three of those. Now it says specify base point. Grab the intersection of the center line and that platform. Now look, if we know exactly, we know for a fact it's dead center, we can come over here and click on that midpoint. And that's exactly the same thing. How about that? Pretty neat. Now remember, we only draw the crossed center lines where we see the circle as a circle or the arc as an arc. If we're showing it this way, and if it's a cylinder, we only show it the direction that the circular feature travels. Okay? So let's do one more circle just to finish our point. Let's put one right here. So again, I'm going to go to circle. I'm going to put dead center of this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to come in, let's put it right about, I don't know, there. Okay? Drag out. Oh no, I'm in the wrong layer. I'm only going to do a 1/2 inch circle this time. Okay? So this needs to be an object because it is on the object layer. Okay? I could do 3/4. Let's do that. Let's change it to a 3/4. Let's make them the same size. I'm going to put it in an exact place. I'm going to say line. I'm going to hover here. I'm going to drag across. I'm going to get here in the midpoint. I'm going to drag down where they cross at. There's where I want my circle at. Okay? I'm just going to draw me a line. Now, it bothers me that I'm in the hidden layer. So I'm going to change that to an object line, even though it should be a center line. I'm going to leave it there for just a minute. Okay? Hit escape. Notice it jumped back to hidden. Make sure you're on the object layer. All right? So let's put us a circle. There's our center point, 0.75. Aha! There we go. Okay? So now, like I said, I need a center line. Again, whatever you've got to do to get this line to the right length. 0.25. Down. Now look what's going to happen when I go up to 0.25 this way. Uh-oh. It hit on the line. That may cause some confusion if you do that. So what I would advise you to do here is either make it a little bit longer each way or make it a little bit shorter each way. The reason why you want to do it each way, watch, I'm going to change this into a center line. Okay, look how pretty. Okay? Now let's mirror it. Let's go ahead and get it where we want it. Click, 45 degrees, there we go. I hit no, there we go. So if I shorten it this way, let's say I shorten it a 1/16. Look what happens. It moves my crosshair. That's that AutoCAD deal because it's measuring from here to here and it's centering that little short dash. This one's still in the center. Problem. Okay. If I shorten it here up a 1/16, now it recenters it. So that's the reason why I said you might want to, if you adjust it both ways. Okay. That's purely for visual effect because if that does hit there, some people may think that's an edge. So you may want to leave a little gap there. Okay. You know, if I did that, I would shorten them all. What I'd probably do is I'd probably delete that and I'd come back in the mirror. Click here, drag out, boom, there we go. Okay, so there we go. So we've got a hole there. Very same thing. Look, line. Hover on the quadrant, drag up, click, click, because it's drilled all the way through. Hover, click, click. Change him to hidden. Okay. Now we want a center line. Again, you can draw it, you can cheat. You know, I can go to copy and use this one. Grab it on that quadrant. And where's it go? Hover right there, drag straight up, boom, it'll drop it in place. Now I can take it and I may have to offset the outer line to get it where I want it. but it's got to be a 1/4 of an inch longer. There it is. We've got to have the exact same thing here also. This time, though, look. Hover, drag, click, click. It's horizontal. Because think about it. It's lining up. Oh no, I drew it too long. That's no problem. Grab the grip, drag it back. Okay, but look what just happened. My center line touches here now. So, you know, you may end up doing some adjusting all the way around. And again, I would adjust to 1/16 if it was mine. There we go. Okay. Would I adjust that one? Maybe. Maybe not. You know, I like the look better where they're all the same. So I could shorten that one down too to match that one. There's an easy way of doing it. I can delete, say copy. Click on that line is what I want to copy. Now watch. From here to here is exactly the same distance as from here to the center here. So I'm going to click here and now click here. So I moved from that corner to that corner, but I moved that other object, copied that other object, and it ends up dead center. Okay. These two lines, don't forget, need to be on the hidden layer. Okay, there we go. We need a center line going that way. Okay, so copy, or I can just do a line, either one. Hover, drag across, click, click. It needs to be a 1/4 of an inch longer each way. Okay, change its layer. Oh, no, wrong layer. That's not hidden. That's a center line. There we go. So that's how you put holes in stuff. And that's, like I said, these lines say, hey, something's going on that you can't see. And now you look down here and go, oh, it's a circle. Same thing here. These lines, I'll tell you something's going on that you can't see. Well, there it is. It's a circle. Okay? So that's what you would do in a case like that. All right, so there's a good description on how to get started with multi-views. Have a great day and enjoy.